you see over there a very tall white tower. That's the area of the Last Supper. Now look at the very, very big great dome. This is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the site of the crucifixion, the burial, and the resurrection. Look at that golden dome in front of us. It is called the Dome of the Rock. The rock is the top of a hill that, according to tradition, was the site of creation. When God made Adam, he took the dirt from around that rock to create the first man. Hence, this place is called the Holy Rock of Ages. King Herod builds a huge retaining wall around the hill, creates an esplanade, the flat top, on top of which the temple was built. And now the Dome of the Rock stands on the very same esplanade which was built by King Herod. At that time, that is where the temple used to be. And that's the temple Jesus sees when Jesus comes to Jerusalem.
As a Christian, it obviously has tremendous implications for the whole history of our faith and our religion. But what's impressed me and what is the implications for every faith. How going back thousands of years even before Christ, how everything that's happened here all has a confluence here at this one location has just been amazing.
Just to mention these two Muslim shrines which are now on the Temple Mountain, it says in the Quran that Muhammad, he arrived here, by the way, riding on the wings of Al-Burak, a winged horse with the face of a woman, and he prayed in the most extreme mosque, and that is where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is built. And then he went to the Holy Rock of Ages, where he talked to prophets and saints and angels, and then he ascended up to heaven. And that's why the Dome of the Rock is built on top of that rock, because that's the site of the ascension of Muhammad up into heaven, the night trip he took.
It seemed to me that we're in the Holy Land. And it's holy for all of us in many different ways, and we all bring different traditions of faith here. And so I thought, again, how can we leave without giving voice to what it is for each of us to experience holiness in the Holy Land, and how we both respect our faith traditions, but also how we struggle with them.
The freest that I've ever felt was in a non-denominational that really focused on the grace of God. And what I take from this place and the idea that we've looked at all the different religions is the commonalities and the way that they overlap and the way that mankind has this great capacity to love, and when we try and force our beliefs on someone else, it gets in the way of that capacity to love.
If you look to the left, you see station number 3, Jesus fell down under the heavy weight of the cross. And over here we have station number 4. This is Mary seeing Jesus. She is waiting here in the crowds. That's where she sees him. She spots her son being taken away. Station number 4.
And you said to start us out that we made the way of the cross, but in my eyes we didn't at all. That was, I felt like it was very sacrilegious. We're being pulled at in the marketplace. We're being, we're chatting about other things. We couldn't concentrate. We were pressed in upon the crowds. But then I thought, that's a metaphor for my faith. I'm constantly being pulled out of my faith by crazy Catholicism that kind of gets in the way of spirituality. And yet, I go back to what David said, that so much of what I'm comforted by in my church is tradition.
The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the most sacred, the holiest place in the world for most Christians. The last 5 stations of the cross were all in what now is one building. At that time it was the Hill of Golgotha, the site of the crucifixion, burial, and resurrection of Jesus.
I have been conflicted about religion my entire life, but I'm not anxious about it. I thought I was. I thought I was anxious, but I kept, while we were here and I saw all this devotion people have to whatever, I thought, what must that feel like? What am I missing? Is that something I want? And then I think, nope, I don't have to have that.
I think what I've tried to do in the Holocaust Educators Network is take the principles that I learned in the National Writing Project which have to do with making room for each person's voice. And it seemed to us as teachers, it's not sufficient just to deliver content. You need to find ways to give people time to make sense of the material by writing about it, by dramatizing it, and finding a connection to it so that it becomes personal. And by engaging this way with teachers, we think we're giving them a model that they can then bring back to their classrooms.
I see God in every person I see. We heard the Muslim call to prayer, and that's a God moment, and I recognize that, and it's a good thing. And, you know, I see folks who live with a kind of discipline of the Orthodox Jews, or what I perceive to be a discipline. And I see God there, and, you know, and certainly when I think about the Catholics that raised me, good, I see God there. There was God there. And it's love. I like looking around and see it. I see it in every single person. I see the spark there that's divine. Bakhtin said something like, "It's a good thing we have the Bible, otherwise God would be running loose in the streets." That's where I find him, right? That's where I find God, is running loose in the streets.
When you actually write a poem or write a reflection, and not just write it, but share it in a way so that people hear your voice and witness that and respond to that, I think that's what keeps a community alive and nurtured. And I think without that, education can become stale.
Remember my description with the hill and the retaining wall built around the hill by Herod and the platform on top of which the temple was built? This is the western side of the retaining wall, and the left side is the Wailing Wall. Now you realize the Wailing Wall has nothing to do with the temple. The temple was where now we have the Golden Dome, the Dome of the Rock. That's where the temple was. But the temple is completely destroyed. And since it was destroyed in July 70 until June 1967, Jews were not allowed on top of that mountain. So they came as close as they could come to where the temple was. And that's what makes the Wailing Wall a special place. We have a tradition of leaving small notes with your prayers and wishes and requests, and you fold it and put it into the stones. We will split now. Ladies will have to go on the right-hand side, gentlemen will go on the left. Please put your hands against the stone. And the rest of it I leave up to you.
It was an extremely powerful experience. We happened to go to a section of the wall where the women were separate from the men, and that's not a world that I normally live in, so it was odd for me, but I felt very proud to be a woman in that space. We're all of us there, different ages, different sizes, different colors, different everything, but yet it seemed and felt like we were all there for the same reason, and that felt very empowering. It really encapsulated the trip to Jerusalem and this blending of three, very distinct religions and cultures.
And when I touched the wall with one hand, I felt like I was supported. And then when I touched the wall with two hands, I feel like I had lost myself in the process and I was being supported by others around me. And that sense of community really washed over me. And 2,000 years of sorrow, particularly from a woman's perspective, one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had.
I didn't feel much of anything, which made me question. And I felt, what am I missing? I was enthralled with the history of it, but in terms of some metaphysical thing happening for me, that didn't happen. And I think I'm going back with questions about myself, but I also gained answers. I think it's okay that I didn't feel anything there. And it's okay that a lot of other people do.
It was a very personal experience for me, between me and a higher being. It was, I don't know, there was just something about it that allowed me to pour my emotions out that I haven't been able to do. I was thinking about my husband, I was thinking about my children, I was thinking about my students, I was thinking about our group. So I was pretty much trying to hit on everybody that I could while I was there. I don't think I was asking for too much.
You're making good use use out of your time?
I was making good use out of my time.